Sky Squad, we are back in the building and we got to talk about last night's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. We're talking season 5, episode 8. The title is We Wanda Mark the Boundaries, okay? And I always got to give it to OWN and Kingdom Reign for coming up with titles that are just right on the money, okay? They found a way to incorporate Wanda and Mark in the title. And it's funny to me that the irony is that last week, was it last week? I can't remember how many weeks ago it was that the comeback group met. And they talked about all these outside factors and people that are impacting the relationships of the collective. But I felt like all the people that are affecting their relationships within the collective were featured in this episode. You have Kiki, who Melody described as her friend. Okay. You got Mark. I don't know, had we ever seen Mark on the show or not? Let us know in the chat. And we of course had, the scene stealer extraordinaire, Miss Wanda. Okay. Mhm. Now, let me go ahead and start this thing off by saying that real quick, just to give you guys an update. If my schedule is a little bit off recently, or if I'm not coming out with content as fast and furious as I usually do, I don't know if I told you guys. I did tell you guys last week I was in Richmond, Virginia, because a friend of mine went to the hospital, and I made a community post asking you guys to, lift her and her family up in prayer. Just wanted to give you guys an update that on Thursday night, she did pass. This is one of my best friends. We were all there with her as she took her final breaths. I've never had a best friend pass. We were all just in Greece together. And, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who lifted me and her family and, her friends up in prayer. It's been a little bit of an emotional journey. So, if working sometimes feels like it helps, kind of move me through the day. And sometimes I feel like I don't feel like working. So I'm just trying to listen to my mind and my body as I move throughout this process. And I just ask that you guys, kind of bear with me and keep me in your prayers. And, I just wanted to say that without being as emotional as I actually feel. All right. With that being said, her name was Stephanie. She was such a light. And one of the things that I can say about Stephanie is that I can hear her in my brain telling me, go to work. Okay. And so that's what I'm doing today. All right. So not to stay on that topic too long, I just wanted to update some of you guys because I know that some of you guys had saw the post, and I did not want to leave you in the dark about maybe why I've might be slowing down a little bit on content for the next couple of days or weeks or however long I feel. And so that's that. All right, so let's dive into our rating for the episode. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm actually going to give this episode, I am going to give it a 9.9. I felt as though the reason I'm going to give it a 9.9 is because I felt like we got some interesting reveals. And I don't know that I had ever seen Mark featured on the show before. And thank you guys for your kind words. I really appreciate it. So to me, I felt like this was an interesting episode. We got the reveal from Kiki about what was allegedly said about her by Leticia and Marceau before a visit to the Holtz a few years ago. That I thought was very interesting because what she revealed was not what I had heard. Okay. We got to see the man who allegedly, well, who claims to have had a relationship with Miss Van and hear his side of the story. Um, which was also interesting as well. Okay. And we got Marceau and Leticia confronting Miss Wanda. And the more I watch Marceau in these past couple of episodes, the more I find myself Team Marceau, which is very interesting. Okay. Um, Jacqueline says Mark was featured at the opening of the cigar bar. Okay, I must have missed that moment. So let's get down to the biz naive. All right. We see Kimmy and Maurice at work at Scott Imperium. Okay. And they're talking about their first closing for their title company. And I wrote in my notes, this is what I love about this show is that we get to see black people doing amazingly epic things. Okay. Um, for them to, they said that they were the only African American title company in, I couldn't tell if it was the area or the state. Someone let me know what that was. Was it the area? Was it the city or was it the state? But what I do know is that Huntsville, Alabama is definitely on the come up. Okay. All right. So, they kind of recap the comeback group meeting, and Maurice feels like there was really no resolve to that meeting. But I do feel like there was some resolve. The resolve was that they were going to start talking to some of the outside influences, i.e., Mark and i.e. Miss Wanda, about what they say on social media. Also, the group agreed that they were not going to speak about each other on social media. All right. Now, the irony is that we did a whole social media special on this show because so much of the drama over the past several years of this show has played out on social media. So much so that in order to even really sometimes understand the nuance of the show, you kind of also have to recognize that there's a ton of action happening on social media. So you've got stuff happening on Facebook, Facebook Live, Instagram Live. I could not even tell you what was going on the Twitter because that is a place that I do not venture to very often. Okay. There is something to me about knowing and seeing what people's thoughts are that just doesn't really I don't really care to know everything that somebody else is thinking because I might like them less. Okay. But I'm a visual person, so Instagram is where I typically dwell. Okay. And I'm even lessening my time on there right now because I just feel like social media has become the wild, wild west. But that's a whole different video for another day. All right. So anyway, Kimmy feels like everybody is responsible for the people that they bring into this situation. So, like, Leticia is responsible for Miss Wanda, and then Maurice and Marcel have to be responsible for Mark. Okay. But they both agree that Mark was brought into the mess. And so she really wants to know, do you feel in any way like your integrity is at stake when your brother says these things on social media? Like, how do you feel about it? And with not then also trying to say to him, hey, maybe tone down what you're saying on social media. Um, you know, because for Kimmy, it's ironic for them to say to Leticia, you need to control your mama, okay? But then they not doing anything to try to um at least mitigate some of the things that Mark may be saying on social media. And again, I don't I don't follow Mark on social media, so I don't know much about what he posts. Um, Thank you so much for the super chat, Theli. I appreciate that. I really do. Um, so for me, I don't really know. But apparently, the things that he's saying are enough that it is cause for concern amongst the group. Okay. Um, Let me see. Leslie Barber says Mark's explanation of why he is saying he has to defend himself all because Miss Van said that he was just a friend sounds like a pick me kind of boy. We'll talk about that in just 1 second when we get to that portion. Um, Maurice thinks that Mark is just defending himself, and Kimmy feels like Mark's take on the situation is really just adding toxic energy to the fire. Okay? To the fire. Um Leslie says, "Whoo child, you should watch a video." Um, I would rather probably not. I I um I think I got a general sense of everything that I needed to get from the scene last night. Okay. I don't know this man. That's all I can say until I get to the scene. And then I'm going to tell you my thoughts. Anyway, Mel is at home packing orders when Kiki calls. Kiki is already outside the house. Melody says, "Come on in, girl, and get to work. Pack these boxes." Okay. Mama's got some money to make. So anyway, Mel says to the screen, to us, she has invited her friend Kiki over. Okay. I said, Mel, we know that's Letitia's cousin, right? But Mel, that's my friend, okay? And Mel says we usually talk to each other quite regularly, but we haven't spoken much in a little while. So anyway, they recap the confrontation with Miss Wanda and the police being called. And Mel, is like, Miss Wanda's got to know she's going to have to answer for these things that she say, okay? She tells Kiki about the comeback group meeting and how some people, aka Leticia, want to act like they don't know certain things that Wanda does. I said this last week in my video. I did say I felt like, I like Leticia. I do. I think she is a sweet girl. And I also try to empathize with the fact that, we're talking about her mom, right? So I try to put myself in her situation. If I'm talking about my mom, then I am going to be probably extra protective. But the reality is, girl, you know what your mama be saying. Okay. You may not watch the lives, but she's saying something. Okay. So then Kiki reveals she got her own issues with Leticia, Wanda, Marceau, okay? And how basically she goes back to the scene where they were all, y'all know that Scott, Leticia and Scott spinoff episode where they was all at the family thing and they was tasting Miss Wanda's food and Kiki was about to reveal some information about Leticia and or Marceau or something. I really don't know. And then Marceau was like, do it. I will burn this whole place down. Okay. She reflects on that. And so she says that the man was trying to blackmail her. Now, let me do something. I got to look up I wants to be clear when I talk about this. when we talk about the definition of blackmail, okay, this is an action that is treated as a criminal offense of demanding payment or another benefit from someone in return for not revealing, compromising, or damaging information about them. Now, if Marceau has said, if you don't give me $500,000, okay, I'm gonna spill your tea. That is blackmail. Okay. What Marceau did was threaten. Okay. They're two different things. Okay. Blackmail is a criminal offense. All right. And I'm thinking to myself, Kiki, I think you using the wrong words. Okay. I said blackmail. Did the woman say blackmail? No. Unless there's some action that occurred off scene, off camera that I don't know about. Okay. Blackmail, that was not what was shown on the screen. Okay. He might be a black male, okay, but he did not try to blackmail you, okay. I just want to clarify that again, unless I didn't see something. Did I miss it? Okay, and I wanted to make sure that I made that correction because I just felt like it was so casually thrown out there. Okay, he tried to blackmail me. I said, Cynthia, no, it's not playing. Blackmailing is a criminal offense. You cannot say that a black man tried to like it. Do you understand the ramifications of certain speech? I think people, even though she probably just used the wrong terminology, I just feel like we have to be very careful about the words that we use. Okay? I mean, so it's just and that's an important clarification to make. All right? Um Larry, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Y'all just don't know when I say there's certain people um that I just about everyone that I have come across that has worked or works in this space on a personal note has been so amazing to me. And Larry Reed, you have been one of those people who has always spoken life into me. And I just want to say thank you. I was actually in communication with Larry when a lot of this was happening last week. And he had his own things going on, but he was still able to just, just it's just nice to have people there for you in your corner when you're going through certain things. So, Larry, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you, and I just want people to know how truly amazing I think you really are. Okay, I have to stop and say that because when people treat you with kindness, these are things that in your darkest moments, these are things that you never ever forget. Okay. So I want to acknowledge you and I want to say thank you for the love and thank you for the super chat. Absolutely. Blessings to Larry. Thank you. Okay. Let me pull myself together. Yeah, so we have to be cautious about the words that we use in this space on television, because that can be really damaging to someone. And again, it was said so casually. I felt like is anybody going to address that? And do I think she misused the word? I do. I do. I think she misused the word. Um, but it's still important to correct. It's still important to correct. Mm. So Kiki then reveals, all right, that she was addicted to pain medicine. She'd had surgery and was on medication for 2 months straight after she couldn't get any more. She did things that she should not have done. Some of those things included taking pills from other people. Um, she says that people started to realize that she was taking pills from other people, and they ended up telling her family. And she had just left rehab months before. They ended up going to the Holt's house for Christmas dinner. So she asked, what was the point of Marceau and Leticia having to tell you guys about her going to rehab for being addicted to pills and then taking pills from other people? Okay. Um, First of all, let me say this. Let's dive into this. Two things. This was not what I was told was the thing that Marceau and Leticia told the Holts. I heard it was something else. However, hearing this story, I feel like, number one, I do applaud Kiki for essentially spilling her own tea. And oftentimes, if you were to put a microscope on anybody's life, you would clearly find some unpleasantness, and usually in everybody's life, right? And so oftentimes when we share those things that we go through, we end up finding out that other people have gone through those things too. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can sometimes turn your mess into a message. And I felt like that's what Kiki did in that moment last night. So I was proud of her for that, because I think when you go through things like that, we don't always go through things for us to experience it. We sometimes go through things so that we can be, our test can be a testimony for someone else, right? And so she kind of talked about using this to kind of speak to other women, but I would also implore her to think about speaking to other men. I mean, men and women, because there are plenty of people out there who suffer from, addiction to different things. And so I thought it was pretty impactful that she had that conversation with Melody. Um, so then Mel says that Leticia and Marceau said it like it was a joke. Make sure y'all lock y'all pills up. I was like, did they? I mean, so clearly Melody confirms this is what truly happened. Okay. Um, did they really say it as a joke? I don't know. Did they really need to tell Melody and Martell that she had just gotten out of rehab for a pill addiction? I don't know that I would have. Um, if that's my cousin, I probably would have kept that information to myself. And unless there were going to be pills, instead of taking shots at the door, they was taking ibuprofen or something at the door. I don't know. Unless there was going to be a party full of pills, there's no reason to say hide your pills, okay? As Melody alleges. Let me put this down in the thing, because it's a lot. This is why I said last night's episode, it was a lot, okay? I don't know. And was they afraid that she was gonna steal some ibuprofen or something? I mean, what was the reason why they mentioned it? The other thing that I had heard, I said to myself, okay, now that might be something you want to mention, okay? But this thing right here with the pills, I mean, what was she gonna do? Go rummage through their medicine cabinets? I mean, I don't know. All right. I don't know. I just maybe wouldn't, I probably wouldn't have said it to nobody, right? I have cousins, you know, who like who I have family who've gone through similar things, but I would never say, "Hey, y'all, so and so's coming over. Y'all might want to lock up your medicine cabinet." Okay, I wouldn't say that, but I don't know if that's what they said or not. I'm just going. This is what Melody is telling us. Okay, so it's alleged for now. All right. Miss Bless 64 says, "Y'all don't think Mel be shady? Kiki, her friends." Um, Thank you for the super chat. Listen, I don't know. I don't know. I told y'all, to me this episode was a lot, all right? Because addiction is a serious thing as well, and to make light of it is kind of, I don't know. Anyway, so as I'm watching the episode last night, my mind is reeling, okay? Because there was just so many big reveals to me last night. And last night wasn't a rah, rah, rah episode, but the conversations that were had, I was just like, what is going on? Carlos, y'all don't be giving us no warning that, oh, something's happening tonight, okay? Anyway, so, oh God. Maurice and Marceau meet in the park, okay? I was like, what is Marceau smoking on? Okay. Was that some type of cigar or something like that? I could not tell. Anyway, y'all know I'll be noticing these little things. We see Mark approach, and the first thing I noticed is that Mark's shirt is on inside out. So I figured he probably had some type of logo on his shirt that was not able to be clear to use. So if you noticed that he had his shirt on the inside out, my guess is that production probably had him turn his shirt inside out so that they could film the scene and not have to pay the extra expense to blur out whatever was on the shirt. Because when they're filming, sometimes you'll notice that when they're filming someone's home, um, like this painting right here, they might have to um, blur it out because oftentimes you have to get clearance to use um, certain pieces of artwork that can't be cleared. It just depends, right? Um, and that is something that I know for a fact because I mean I've been in the situation. Um, they recap, you know, the altercation, all right? And Mark says he wasn't trying to flare up the situation with Miss Van. He was just stating the facts. Maurice asked if he said that he dated Miss Van on Instagram. Mark says that he was talking to Kiowa on an IG live and someone recorded his video. So yeah, he said he dated Miss Van, and then for 2 years there was no action. Then after the reunion, where he saw that Miss Van denied a relationship with him, Mark says, "You do not come to my house for friendship, okay? If you want to call that friendship, then I'm guilty of being a very good friend." So the insinuation is that there was some romantic relationship, romantic or otherwise. I don't know what you want to call it. That is what this man is saying to us, okay? In the chat, y'all let me know, do you believe that Miss Van had a relationship or relations with Mark as is being mentioned in the thing? And then I'm going to tell you kind of what I feel about this situation in just a second. Marceau says, now Marceau is really trying his hardest to get Mark to realize that, hey, you are hurting Miss Van in all of this, and as a result, you're hurting a lot of us. Okay, because the truth is, for Marceau, and Maurice, is that whether or not you had a relationship with her or you had relations with her, the idea is that as adults, that we don't have to kiss and tell, and that if she does not want to acknowledge a relationship with him, then she doesn't have to. Okay. I'm of the frame of mind, honestly, that I mean, I kind of feel like if you grown people is we not really doing the kissing and telling and type of things. At least not in the social circles that I feel like I'm in. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand. I guess he feels like you ain't gonna deny me. Okay. Um, he says that he feels like people are attacking him for telling his truth. And I mean, if he feels like that's his truth, and if he feels like that's his story to tell, as a grown person, I cannot stop him from telling whatever he wants to say. Um, is it, do I think it's in good taste? Not really. Okay. Because it's somebody's mama on the show. It's just like, I feel like this. I mean, if you did, if it was a hit it and quit it, okay, whatever. Like, I don't think we gotta talk about it though. You know what I'm saying? Because she might not want her business out there like that. It's just like this. I was always raised that you never ask a woman her age. So if I'm not gonna ask a woman her age, I'm definitely not gonna ask her who she's sleeping with. Okay, unless she volunteers that information. But that's just me. And it feels like he's hurt that she is denying anything with him, but maybe she just doesn't want that information out into the public for whatever reason. Tracy says Mark also said he has multiple people at the same time he was with Van, so that don't sound like a relationship. Also, Van is of a particular age group that calls people friend and not boyfriend. Exactly. That's kind of the way I looked at it as well. Um, so I don't necessarily agree with his stance on the situation because I just kind of feel like, grown people and people of a certain age ain't running around talking about who they having relations with. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? So relations or a relationship, they could be two different things. I don't know what exactly it was. And to be quite honest with you, I really don't want to know. But I tell you what I did find out, okay, which is interesting. Now, Mark, at, you know, Marcel tries to give some analogies and basically tells him, like, you trying to defend yourself, you have become the person who is now offending someone else, and everybody involved is having to deal with this. Okay. They basically ask him if he can temper his behavior because it's affecting them. And Mark basically laughs it off and says he's not the bigger person and he's not as sensitive to women as other people are. If you bring that energy to him, he says you're going to get that same energy back. He's not willing to apologize to anyone he's hurt and respectfully to whomever, F them. So what I am having a hard time understanding is that Mark just really told us who he is, his what he believes, and his level of sensitivity towards women. Okay? Um my thought is my initial thought was Miss Van does not seem and Mark do not seem equally yoked in their beliefs. Okay. And so it is difficult for me to understand how their lives became intertwined in any way because it seems as though, based on what we have seen of Miss Van and now what I have seen of Mark, as though they would never even come in the same space together. Does that make sense? Um, so I'm having a hard time understanding it all. Um, Also, the unfortunate thing is for any other women that may be interested in him, he has now told you that he is not sensitive to women as other people are. So, women, when a man says something like that, my only caution to you is to listen to what they are telling you. Okay. I don't know this man. And I know a lot of you guys say, okay, that she was, they met, Miss Van was helping Skull, and that's how they met. Again, I have worked with people, okay, that in past companies or organizations and not and recognize that we are very different and probably would have no other relationship other than I work with you. Okay? Period. Period. Um so that's what I got to say about Mark. I have only I've not been giving, and this is all the information that I have about him from this one scene. So that's all I can really give you. Um Mark has said everything that I feel like you would need to know about him to know how to move around him, with him, or in his personal space. And that's that. Okay? And when a person tells you who they are, you best believe them. Okay? Leticia and Destiny meet for lunch to catch up after the Madani launch. And this, I mean, one of the interesting things that I thought was that Destiny reveals that her man Moses, okay, when she goes to visit him, when she packs up her bags, okay, leaves her baby, leaves her store, leaves her business, and flies to wherever he is to visit him. This man expects her to have ridden the plane, possibly had a layover, and then get to his house, look through his cabinets, figure out what he got to eat, and then somehow put together a meal for him after she has just traveled all the way to see him. Now, I'm going to tell you like this, Destiny, okay? Because again, we want the best from you. For you, I should say. Girl, this is a sign, okay? If ever there was a sign in the beginning of a relationship, this would be it. And to me, that sign is stop, okay? It is a stop sign. It is not a yield, it is a stop sign. Because let me tell you something. Any man, to me, worth his grain of salt is going to, when you fly in, baby, what can I cook for you? If I can't cook, baby, where can I take you to dinner? In fact, you don't even have to, I don't even have to ask you. We going to dinner, okay? I've already got a spot picked out for us, all right? Now, if he comes to see you, Destiny, and should you choose to want to cook for him, then you do so, okay? But I'm like, these sound like red flags to me, Destiny. And so I don't know this man, but his level of expectation of somebody that he is just dating is a little bit too much for me. Okay. So can you imagine what his expectation gonna be if y'all got serious and if y'all got married? Girl, no. It's a no for me. It's a no for me. Okay. They talk about Stormy gifting her the Gucci bag and how Destiny says she felt like it was a flex. She don't want to be nobody's handout and whatnot. I be thinking like, honestly, I don't know what she be thinking. It's sometimes pride for me because let me tell you something. If you come to me apologizing and you bring me a Gucci bag, thank you. I so appreciate it. If I don't want the bag, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hop on Rebag and I'm gonna say to the sales rep, I have a Gucci bag for you. How much can we make for this Gucci bag? Okay. I'm gonna go on the Facebook marketplace. I don't even go on Facebook like that, except to post my videos. But I'm gonna go on the Facebook marketplace. I got a Gucci bag for sale. Who wants to buy the Gucci bag? Because you know what? I'm gonna make some money off of the blessings that God is pouring down in my life. Okay. You could choose to look at it like a handout, or you could choose to look at it as an opportunity to make some more money. How about that? But I'm tired of trying to tell Destiny how to look at things because she gonna do what she do. Anyway, they talk about Mel, of course, she don't like how Mel came and, yada, yada. Mel didn't apologize for, the altercation at a shop or whatever. That would have been nice if Mel had called to apologize, but they don't like each other at this point. So it is what it is. I'm just over it. I feel like let's just stop trying to make fetch happen. Melody and Destiny are done, and that's the end of it. Okay, period. All right, that's all I got to say about it. Stormy wants to get all the girls together, and apparently it's gonna happen next week. But Leticia agrees that Destiny and Melody can at least talk and agree to be cordial. I don't care no more. To be honest with you, I don't. It's just let's just stop trying to make fetch happen. Like it's done and over. That friendship is a wrap, and we can all move forward in good faith. I noticed we haven't seen Martell at all in this episode, nor have we seen the Whitlows. Meanwhile, it's the Mila's 7th birthday. That is Leticia and Marceau's 7-year-old daughter. They're having a bunch of people over that they got to blur out. As they're cutting the cake, Miss Wanda rolls up in her oversized sunglasses. Okay. They try to talk to her about, hey girl, listen, We had a comeback group meeting, and you part of the problem, okay? And she says this verbatim, and I wrote this down because I thought it was so wild. Miss Wanda says verbatim, but I didn't say anything about the baby. I said the last baby. We still talk about the baby, okay? I mean, we still talking about the baby, Miss Wanda. Like, I mean, I don't know what type of wordplay she was trying to give us, but I was like, Miss Wanda, now come on now. She literally said, but I didn't say anything about the baby. I said the last baby. Anyway, for Miss Wanda, she was just saying, I was just clapping back at Melody's baby daddy comment. So she went there and I went there as well. I'm here for the mess. Marceau lets her know that the agreement is to stop coming at each other on social media. Miss Wanda feels like, well, she didn't approach Melody with any negativity that day. Okay. And she was real nice to her. And then they tell her, listen, you can't call her all types of bees and hoes on social media and then expect to be nice in her face. And I'm really kind of surprised that they're really giving it to her in this moment in this way. Okay. Marceau tells her that when she goes live, focus on yourself. Okay. That's that's my logic, right? In life, right? Why would you ever focus on while you're on live on someone that you don't like, especially if you are not being paid to do so? So this is what you're doing. You are jumping on the live, okay? You are talking about somebody else. The live, which you are, I mean, you could be getting paid for because you know the content, social media, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I feel like they are right. You have got things that you could be promoting. You got a food truck. You could talk about the episode. I'm even okay with that. Okay. But they are just like, just don't start talking and going in on other people, even if you feel like you got to defend Leticia, because Leticia got to tell her, listen, mama, you ain't got to defend me. I don't have to curse people out in order to get them together. Okay. That's the difference between Miss Wanda and I think Leticia. Leticia knows that she can calmly do what she needs to do and manage situations with these girls. Whereas Miss Wanda feels like you ain't do enough. I would have cursed that girl out. But that's you, Miss Wanda. That is not who Leticia is or how she moves. And you got to respect that. So there's a little bit of boundary that I feel like Miss Wanda also has to have with regards to, yeah, you want to take up for your daughter. I understand that. But let your daughter do what she needs to do because she can manage it, right? Basically, Miss Wanda says if they talk about her, she gonna talk about them. All right. I did notice that as you know, as Marceau was talking to her and he tried to put his hand on her shoulder, she was, get your hand off my shoulder. And I don't know, it was just kind of like I just thought that whole interaction was interesting because I felt like he was in that moment trying to be very, serious, stern, yet understanding, and really trying to be sensitive to her. But I guess that's maybe just part of the nature of their relationship where they play like that. I really don't know. Miss Wanda finally says, so tell me what y'all want me to do. Tisha says, kids are off limits. No comparisons, no nothing. Miss Wanda in her confessional says, if somebody talks about her kids, she's going to talk about theirs. But in the moment in the scene, she agrees to not talk about kids anymore. But otherwise, ain't nothing gonna change. Okay? What an episode. Anyway, I can't wait for next week, y'all. It looks like it's gonna be fire. All right. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Um, what y'all thought about the whole Mark situation, what you thought about Kiki. I'm interested. I'll be reading y'all comments sometimes when I'm just out and about or I'm doing some other work. I'll be scrolling through and just seeing what y'all say. So I love hearing your commentary and what you guys think. So let me know what you thought about the episode, what you rated on a scale of 1 to 10. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.